As John mentioned, I ran across a poem by a 12th century poet, scholar, and wise man named Rumi. And Rumi said, "Half of any person is wrong and weak and off the beaten path. Half. The other half is dancing and swimming and flying in the invisible joy." That little couplet stuck in my mind for a long time, and at the same time, I was also thinking about this speech and what in the world I was going to say and do when I got up here to speak in front of everybody from this project, from the Read Along project. Well, all of a sudden, it came to me. That little couplet is contained in this rather large book that was written by Dr. Seuss. And this book is a book that I stood in a bookstore and read, and then bought 3 copies for my eldest grandchildren who were going off to college. So they each have a copy of this, Oh, the Places You'll Go. They got them as graduation presents from high school. So, half a person. It's kind of hard to imagine what half a person is. But I think what Rumi was trying to say was that there is a wide expanse of experience in a lifetime. There's joy, there's sorrow, there's weakness, there's wrongness, there's rightness, and at the very end of it, there is something to look back on as a total experience that makes a whole person. And so I'd like to start tonight by reading from Dr. Seuss. The first page starts, "Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places, off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose, and you're on your own. And you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets. Look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town." I'd like to stop here because I think that is sort of the essence of the first part of this couplet by Rumi. Half of any person is wrong and weak, and half is off the beaten path. Well, this is certainly true about the young man in this book. He is off the beaten path and heading straight out of town. And where does he go? He goes out to the opener there in the wide open air. He goes away from that environment and into a brand new environment. And he says, out there, things can happen, and frequently do to people as brainy and footsie as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew, just go right along. You'll start happening too. And that takes us into the second part of this couplet. The other half is dancing and swimming and flying in the invisible joy. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. And again, we're looking at this concept of joy and accomplishment. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on, and you'll be left in the lurch. So there again, we have someone who's weak and maybe wrong and maybe not on the right path. You'll come down from the lurch with a thin cousin bump, and the chances are then you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You'll come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And again, there's that uncertainty of that first part of the couplet. And if you go in, should you turn left or right right and 3/4, or maybe not quite? Or go around back and sneak from behind? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker up to make up his mind. You can get so confused that you start into race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace, and grind on for miles across a weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, toward a most useless place, the waiting place. And again, we're in this kind of doldrum where this person is waiting, and other people are just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for a Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all the waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where boom bands are playing. That's the happy side of life, isn't it? With banners flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky. Ready because you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you'll go. There's fun to be done. There are points to be scored. There are games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame. You'll be famous as famous can be. With the whole wide world watching, you'll win on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because you'll be playing against you. All alone. Whether you like it or not, alone will be something you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go through the weather, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go, though the hackencracks howl. Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you will hike far, and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And you will succeed. Yes, you will indeed. 98 and 1/4% guaranteed. Kid, you will move mountains. So, be your name Buxbaum or Bixby or Bray or Mordecai Ali Van Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So, get on your way. When I read this book, and then I found this poem, I thought they're very similar. One is a 12th century, beautifully written quatrain, couplet, and the other is a book that's written across the span of ages. It can be read by a 5-year-old child. It can be read by an adolescent. It can be read by a maturing young adult. And it tells the same story as these simple lines by Rumi. Half any person is wrong and weak and off the beaten path. The other half is dancing and swimming and flying in the invisible joy. When I look back on my own life, I look back on the times when I was that person wrong and weak and off the beaten path. I look at those times and I remember them I don't remember them with sorrow. I remember them with sort of sentimentality. I got through that. I got through that. And I got into that visible joy, that invisible joy, the other half dancing and swimming and flying in that invisible joy. And in my lifetime, as I look back and say, yes, I've been in the invisible joy longer than I've been in the waiting room, longer than I've been wrong or weak and off the beaten path. I have had a very successful and wonderful life that is more joy than pain. And I thought to myself, how will my grandchildren look at this? What will they do with this book? Will they read it? Will they throw it away or give it to the Goodwill? Will they use it? And the answer is yes, they have. And there are times when they've picked it up and read it, when they were having perhaps a little bit of a downtime at school, when things might not have been going as well as they could have expected in their personal life. And what they did was got a little pickup from the book. And I think that I'm going to be sending them this couplet too, because I think it is just so beautiful and so true. I look back at my life and they're looking forward to their future. And I think that there is something to be said about that too. Those older grandchildren that I have who are in college are making their futures. And I think that this book is something that will help them see that life is such a mixture, such a medley of feeling and emotion, happiness and joy, sorrow, sadness, disappointment. It's all there in the mix, and it's all what makes the individual what that person is and what that person will be in now, what it is now and what will be in the future. So I think this is a very worthwhile book to read, and if you ever have a chance to get it at the library, there it is, the places you'll go. Just a little side note, Theodore Geisel was our neighbor when we lived in La Jolla, California, many, many years ago. And he was a very quiet gentleman and had an amazing career. He was not only a prolific writer, he was a teacher, and he was an inventor. He invented a synthetic oil that was patented and is still used to this day. So he was a man of many, many talents. A little bit reclusive. Everybody who lived in the neighborhood told us, oh, Theodore Geisel lives down the street, you know, Dr. Seuss. Yeah, I've heard of him. And so they said, but don't be put off. He's very nice. He'll say good morning and good afternoon, but he doesn't take part in any of the neighborhood things. But he was a man of brilliance and I think a great philosopher. And I'm very thankful that I've had the opportunity to read this book and to pass it along.